All right, so I'm so excited today. This is the Millionaire Mom Method, and I'm so excited to have Mikki Hostert. She is the business owner of Crown Resin Coatings. Thanks so much for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me. Very
Yep.
excited to be here.
Yay, awesome. So with these interviews, I always love to focus on how we can inspire others, teach others, and grow together. So that is my big goal in life. I feel like if we can all learn from each other, grow together, we rise together, right? That's my big motto in life.
Absolutely.
So with that, I
Absolutely.
would just love to hear, I know you've had a long journey. I'd love to hear a little bit about your background and tell us a little bit about your business, but mostly what was kind of that starting point of what made you be like, I either need to be an entrepreneur or I got to share this with the world.
So, okay, mine's a long story, but I'll try to shorten it down.
No,
I did, military, Navy, and then after that, I kind of struggled trying to figure out where I was going to go.
sure.
Um,
I'm sure you're not
I,
alone. Thank you
no,
for your service, by the way.
I did the whole college thing. I got my surgical technology degree because I still wanted to help people.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, surgery. I worked
Wow.
in that field for a little while, which I loved. I loved it. Plastic surgeries, that was my favorite. But
Interesting.
it just wasn't for me. I think I learned that early on. It wasn't enough advancement for what I liked. I
Oh,
really liked having something to work for
yes.
and ways to grow,
Move up.
And so
Yeah.
when you meet someone in the same field and they're like, I've been doing this for 20 some years and they're still where you are and you're
Yikes.
just now coming in, it was kind of
Yikes.
an eye opener for me. Like,
Sure.
yeah, probably not for me.
Sure.
And so I kind of looked inside and what I
Yes.
wanted to do. And that's how
Good.
I ended up in law enforcement. I did that for like 8 years. And
Wow.
then one day, because I had a military injury, I received a neck injury while I was in the military.
Ah,
So the VA, one day I went for a checkup and I ended up with a letter that I could no longer work in that field
oh,
because
oh
of
my gosh.
the injury and everything that's happening. So
Wow.
it took it away like
Yeah.
that.
Life changing. Wow.
Yes. And so
Wow.
that's kind of what happened. I ended up being in this really weird place of not knowing, like an identity crisis almost.
Yes.
And I didn't know where I was. I didn't know where I belonged. Who was I if I didn't,
Wow.
if I wasn't
Yeah.
law
Yes.
enforcement? I didn't know what to do.
Wow.
Um, my family was very supportive. I went through a lot. I got my real estate license. I jumped into that.
Wow.
And it's just so consuming
Yes,
because we
I'm
also have,
sure.
we have kids and we have another business, a landscaping business, which keeps us busy.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
so trying to do real estate and then work in law or work in landscaping and then have kids and the whole nine, I was trying to do signings and
Mm.
inspections and all of that while
Yeah.
we're still installing yards because me and my husband were the only two
Yes.
doing it then.
Oh my
We were
gosh.
working to build that business. And so
Yes.
it was hard. And then
Yeah.
I jumped into, hey, I can become a bail bondsman because I know all about that side. And so I opened a
Oh,
bail bonds company. I jumped
interesting.
into that. I
Wow.
even got certified, as like a bounty hunter because you have
Yeah.
to go get these people if they run.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it just kind of wasn't for me. I didn't enjoy wanting to go get people out of jail just to have to keep tabs
Yes.
on them and like
Oh,
babysit them and oh, they didn't
sure.
go to court. I got to go get them. And
Yes.
so
That does sound
that
like
thing,
babysitting.
yeah, and it just wasn't for me. And
Yeah.
so I switched. So as you can hear, I flip flopped everywhere. And
Yeah.
eventually, this just kind of let's just focus on building our business,
Yeah.
And so we really hit the ground running when it came to the landscaping, and that took off. We are in our fifth season. Um,
Amazing.
that really helped a lot in
Yeah.
opening my eyes to different possibilities and different opportunities. I
Awesome.
was stuck in the whole rut of applying. I need a job. I got to find something I can do.
Yes.
Instead of looking at what doors can we create for ourselves,
I love
and
that. Oh,
yeah,
yes. That's a switch,
so
right? That's a scary switch.
It is. It's a huge, scary switch, and not a lot of people want to do that,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it is scary because you go from the stability of having a regular paycheck, I know how much I'm going to get, to
Yep.
we have to figure it out and make it so we can pay our
Yep.
bills every month.
Of
And so,
course.
yeah, but that kind of opened my eyes to, I really enjoy that. The hustle,
Yeah. Yeah.
it keeps you going, it keeps you young, and
Hmm.
every day you're working your mind. Like, what can we do? What
Yep.
avenues haven't we hit yet? What can we do as far as marketing?
Love that.
Things like that. And
Love it.
so that's where I'm at now. Now everything's geared towards building the business. And so going through all of those trials and tribulations,
Yeah.
I kind of had to appreciate the closed doors because all of those doors closed. And so I had to
Yeah.
take a hint, like, obviously that's not my path.
Yes.
So
For a reason.
yeah, and I had to be grateful for that. I had to
Yeah.
look at it
Mm.
like there's a reason.
Yeah.
And now let's find out which way we're supposed to go. And so that's kind of how I've started playing it. I had to get out of that whole depressed funk of,
Yeah.
my whole life has been taken from me, to,
Yes.
well, you're going to have to get up and reclaim
Yes.
your life and figure out where you want to go. Where are you supposed to go? And
Yes.
I feel like we kind of found our place. Like, especially me and my husband, he supported me through the whole thing, through
Yeah.
figuring out what I needed to do.
Oh,
And
yes.
yeah, and now we're here. And so it's such a great
Yeah.
place to be able to, when you finally figure out, like, okay, we can do this.
This
This
is,
is working. It's not as
yeah.
scary as you think. It really
Yeah.
isn't. It's so much more freeing
Yes.
because you see people every day and they're on the same time crunch of in their cars and I gotta get to work, I gotta get to work. But they're on a time crunch. They have to clock in
Yeah.
by like
Right.
8 o'clock. Whereas us, we're like, well, we kind of set our schedule today. So
Ah.
we
Yep.
decide where we want to go. We decide what
Yep.
we want to do today. And do we want to take a vacation this weekend? You can do that
Yeah.
as your own business owner. And so
Yeah.
those little things I've learned to be so grateful for. And looking back, I'm like, wow, how many Christmases I missed and how many Thanksgivings I missed being on
Yep.
shift because, oh, we can't
Yeah.
afford to give you that time off because we need people to work. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And so
Wow.
now we can, now you
That's
can enjoy
amazing.
those things
Yes. So much more freedom. That's awesome.
a
And
lot.
so tell us about, so how did you get into this floor coatings? Tell us about that.
Interesting. So my husband, he's kind of like a jack of all trades.
Amazing.
Like
And
it
supportive.
is.
That's so nice.
It's very amazing. It's almost like anything you say, he's like, oh yeah, I know how to do
I could
that.
figure that out.
Yeah,
Oh.
he's worked in construction like his whole life. He grew up with it. His family beforehand had their own construction business, when he was younger. And so he knows that realm
Yeah.
very well. Um, and that helps because then I
Yeah.
learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
Uh, but he keeps it going because he's usually the one that's like, oh, yeah, no problem. I got this. And then he kind of pulls me up like, I'm the
You
one
can
that
do it.
overthinks. I'm
Right.
the one that's like, I don't know.
And we see
Uh,
that. Yeah.
and when it comes out, it's so great. But he's the one that keeps that going. And so I don't know, when it comes to all this, that's kind of where it goes. He's the jack of all trades. And what got us into it is he has done this before. So he has done epoxy flooring and the whole nine. And me, as a woman, I really love the metallic. I love
Yes.
how the liquid marble look and it
Sparkly.
flows. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I really got into it, it's more than aesthetics. I learned so much. Obviously, the benefits of it outweigh the
Mm.
looks. The looks are great,
Yeah.
but the benefits. I started looking at our own floors, like wood floors and laminate, and I'm like, there's so much crud in there that's so nasty, you have no idea. And you walk on it every day, you clean it, and you think, it's clean. I swept and I mopped it and I did
Yeah.
the whole nine of my floors and it smells good. But when you get down there and like scrape out and you pull up and you see what's gunked up underneath your floor and inside the cracks, I'm a
Interesting.
weirdo like that. And so it really grossed me out.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even think about that,
Wow,
you
you're
know?
right. I hadn't either.
Yeah. So
Whereas
things like
acrylic
that.
just covers that, just all one piece.
Yes, there's no seams. It's all one piece. And so it's so easy to clean. Keeps your house like dust free. So even people with like allergies, it
Yeah.
keeps allergens out. It helps like the dogs, the whole nine. Instant
Amazing.
ROI. Who doesn't
Yeah,
like the return on investment? If you
of
can boost
course.
your property value, like heck yeah,
Yeah,
I'm all for it. So I
right.
love those facts of the benefits that come with it.
Yeah.
I love the aesthetic and the look,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes down to it, I am the one that's like, oh, but what are the the benefits you don't see?
Yeah.
I like to look at things like that and pull those into the picture.
Yeah.
I do the same with landscaping. So
Yeah.
that's my realm. I like
I love
to,
it.
I like to research and I like to look into things of what I'm getting involved in before I actually take the whole plunge. And this one just totally captured me because there's so many good benefits. It's beautiful. I love, doing them. It's you. It's your creativity. It's your artistic touch.
Yeah.
And
How fun.
who wouldn't love being able to look back and be like, I remember this floor looked awful, and now
Yes.
it's like, oh.
Exactly what you
So
want. Amazing.
yes. And that totally keeps it going because we make things pretty. And so
Yeah.
I love that.
That's
You leave your
amazing.
mark wherever you go,
Yeah,
you know?
you totally do. Oh, that's awesome. And so you spoke earlier about mindset, right? I always love talking about mindset. What's kind of a big lesson that you feel like you or was helpful? How were you able to kind of change that mindset of, oh my gosh, the world is happening to me, right? You've probably heard this as opposed to for me, right? You had so many hurdles you had to get over. What was kind of some helpful lessons that you learned and how were you able to kind of change that mindset?
Oh, I'm a mindset person myself. For the simple fact, like you said, going through it, you see the dark.
Of
You've seen the
course.
dark and then you see when you've pulled yourself out. And
Yeah.
so if I can help even one other person, that's wonderful. But like the mindset thing for me is I sunk into such a dark place for a while of not knowing who I was and just kind of going
Yeah.
through the motions of, well, I'm mom, so I have children. I got to get them to school. We have to pay bills. That's kind of where my head was just let's stay
Survive.
afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was still so lost. I felt, like I even was looking at my husband like, why does he want me? Like, what kind of
Yeah.
mother am I? It makes you question everything when the
Everything.
whole world collapses. And so
Of course.
when that happened, I sat there for a while in my funk, feeling depressed and trying to figure it out. But what helped is to actually start looking at it as I have to be grateful
Mm.
for the closed doors. That's the way I
Yeah.
look at it. Because if I look at it like, oh, that door closed, great. Now that
Yeah.
opportunity is
Now what?
gone. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you just sit there like, but you're only focused on that door closed.
Yeah.
Um, And one thing I always tell people, because I remember this being said to me when I was growing up, and it's always stuck in my head is like, anything you want to do, like, why not just try? Right?
Mm.
The worst they
Mm-hmm.
can do is tell you no, and it
Yeah.
still hasn't changed your situation if they did say no. But the
Yeah.
best thing that could happen is it's yes, and it's a success because, hey, great. But if it's a no and it's a fail, then oh well, move on
Learning.
because it
Yeah.
hasn't hurt me none.
Yeah.
It's just that door is closed.
At
Um,
least you tried.
and yeah, and so learning how to see those things as a benefit, as it's just not for me, that's not my path. And then looking back on it, like, I'm actually grateful. There's so much of my life that I reclaimed. And I think that's one thing that people should do. If doors are closing on you and your life is collapsing,
Yes.
look
It's a sign.
around you. Yes. And don't see it as a bad thing. Look around it and dissect it. Like, what is this trying to tell me?
That's
Obviously, this isn't for me. Let's
yeah.
find out. what is. And then you can look, and what helps is when you look back on what's not for me and you start listing why. Like, okay, I'm glad I didn't stay there. Why? Well, I
Mm,
have more time with my family.
mm,
I don't have to work on holidays, Christmases, the whole nine, Thanksgivings, birthdays, anniversaries. I'm here for them.
yes.
If my kids have a sports event, I'm here for that. And
Yeah.
those little things are what really was like, wow. Because if I dwelled on that closed door,
Yeah.
I'd still be sitting there in my
Yeah.
funk, probably working just some regular 9 to 5 to pay bills that I hate,
Yeah.
and just coming and just hating life. And so instead, you got to find the good in it. Because even now, if someone tells us like, oh, we we're not going to do that project right now, or we decided to go with another company because they were cheaper, or
Oh, sure.
all those things, I could dwell on them all day and be like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
we didn't get
I
the
know.
job.
Yeah.
Why?" And then look at myself and tear myself apart, because that's
Of
what we
course.
do.
Yes.
We look at ourselves like, what was
There
it?
must
What
be
did I do
something
that
wrong.
day?
Yes.
Right. What did I say?
Something's
I did
wrong with me.
something. They didn't
Yeah.
like it. They didn't like me. What did I do? And we
Ah.
as people tear ourselves apart
Yeah.
every time. And so instead, I've just started looking at it like, I mean, oh well, that's fine.
Yeah.
There was a different place for them, and that's cool. Maybe that's opening the door for a bigger opportunity or something
Yes.
that is a better opportunity for us. I've
Yeah.
started looking at it that way. Simple fact, where as you know, one opportunity goes, another one is immediately there following it. And so you
Yeah.
just got to learn to see those. You have to
Yeah.
start looking for the good. If you are focused on the negative, that's what you'll see. I'm sorry, but it's true. That's what you'll
So
get.
true. Yes.
It's the universe in my mind is what I say.
Yes.
I feel like we all run off. Um, what is the word I'm thinking? We're all running
Frequency,
off of your
energy.
energy. Yes, frequency, your energy levels. And
Yes.
we all have our own, but
Yep.
the universe is it as well. And I feel like it feels what frequency you're on. And that's where you get placed. And so if I'm going to be sitting here and I'm feeling down and I want to pout about my day, my frequency's low. And so the
Yeah.
universe it feels that, it takes it, and that's what you're going to get.
Gives you
Oh,
more.
negative, bad, all this stuff, sad, whatever you're feeling,
Yeah.
that's what you'll start getting. And that's why when you're going through something bad and you do the whole woe is me thing and you fall into your depression, what happens? If you look around, you notice it feels like, oh, when it rains, it pours, because now there's another
Yeah.
problem. Now there's another problem, and it's just
Yep.
adding more onto my plate. No, you're kind of adding more on your plate if you think about it,
Yeah.
because you are putting that out there. And so that's what you're going to get. You're going to
Yes.
be, everyone hates me and they won't take my jobs. You're going to
Yes.
get a lot of no's, unfortunately. So
Yes.
you
So
kind of
true.
got to learn. Yeah, you got to learn to be grateful for where you're at and be happy about what's out there. The opportunities are out there. You might have to find them and you might have to dig. You'd just be amazed at what you'd find if you just keep a positive mindset or a
Yeah.
positive headset about
You can either be on a downward spiral because you're right, everything kind of compounds. Oh, this is terrible, the next terrible thing, the next terrible thing, right? You could be in a downward spiral or you can be in an upward spiral, right? So, like
it.
one little thing can just one thing you're grateful for leads to the next thing you're grateful for, right? It really compounds on each other. And like you said, you can just move your frequency a little bit and then it'll help you move to the next level and, right? Just kind of keep
Yeah.
finding the next opportunity.
Yes. And I don't know, that's been my philosophy on all of it since going through everything and kind
Yeah.
of taking time to learn about those.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of mindset work on myself. I will
Love it.
tell people that's something I do preach is like take you time.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. If you got to journal, if you
Yeah.
have to do whatever you need to
Yeah.
keep your mind space right. If you're
Yeah.
having a moment, and we all have them, you get fed up or frustrated throughout the day and you're just like, oh, I need a break.
Yeah.
Just walk off and take a break. No
Yeah.
one's going to fault you for that. Go to the bathroom, whatever you need to, and
Right.
recompose. And then one thing I remember, and I heard this first from my husband, and then it kind of stuck, and then I hear it more and more, is you can't be depressed if you're thinking of grateful things.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not
Physically
possible. Your
possible.
brain,
Yeah.
yeah, your
Can't do
brain.
that.
So if you,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you're going through something bad and something happens and you're like in that funk, you immediately think of like what you're grateful for. You
Yes.
start listing things off if you have to in your head, like, I'm grateful for my husband, I'm grateful for my kids. Think of reasons why you're grateful. And
Yes.
it's crazy how your head will switch from, you won't even remember why you were mad 5 minutes ago or what
So
got you
true.
frustrated, but your brain can't do both. It can't hate
Yes.
things and love it at the same time.
Yes. And I've often heard that as fear and love, right? So either fear, you can't be in fear and love at the same time. So kind of that grateful versus, oh my God, the world is ending
Right.
mentality. Yeah.
And then I think the fear part too, like that'd be a way to get out of it, to just pull yourself away. If you're scared to take that leap into becoming a business owner, or I don't know, I'm so used to getting an hourly wage and being told what to
Yeah.
do. Now I'd have to be responsible. It
Yep.
seems like a lot, but in
Yeah.
actuality, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
And so many benefits, like you said,
Yes,
right?
just
Yeah,
go for it. You'll never know unless you try.
absolutely. I love that. And so tell us how you incorporate your kids, right? I don't know if you want to share how many kids you have, but yeah, where do you feel like you incorporate your kids, or what are you passing on to them for their generation? What's kind of your hope for the future, and how do you incorporate your kids in your business?
We have tried since day one to get our kids involved.
Yeah.
We have four girls, 22,
Oh my gosh.
18, 9, and 7. Well, soon to
Oh,
be 10,
oh my
8.
goodness. A whole gamut.
So full span. They're all
Yeah,
girls. We have 2 dogs, so busy household.
sure.
We tried to get them involved in the beginning of putting them out there, like, hey, you guys handle this part of the job, and we'll do
Yeah.
this. You
Maybe
kind
that's
of
all.
see early on that they, they're
Yeah.
like moving one rock at a time. It's like,
Yes.
well, we got this.
Right.
Um, but as they've grown up, you see how some of the things that they've seen, how we are, as how we work. Yeah, we're always busy,
Sure.
but they see and they understand how the business works already. And they're
Yeah.
young, they understand
Yeah.
estimates. It's so cute because they're like, oh, are we going to do estimates today? They come with us on the
Yay!
weekends.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
And
so fun.
so they know the whole realm. Um,
Interesting.
and that's something that we are trying to instill now, just
Yeah.
because I learned with the older ones, they didn't have that because obviously we got experience. I got our businesses going in the past like 6 years, but
Yeah.
now we're really trying. And so they do see how it can be a difference because they see life
Yeah.
before and then they see
Right.
it after. The
That's
younger
true.
ones are more experienced with the life with business
Yeah.
owning. And so that's kind of what they know. They're
Yeah.
already, the 9-year-old already wants to start her own
Oh, that's
business.
amazing.
Like we
Yes.
came up with a flyer and the whole nine.
So cute.
So you see, it's different in the way they think.
Yes.
The
I
little,
love that.
the kiddos, they see opportunity. And so I want to do this and I want to do this and I want to do this.
How amazing.
And yeah, and so it's a different because from when we were growing up or from like even my oldest, you don't really see those because everyone's so used to, I have to go to work. I have to
Yeah.
check. I can't have that day off. That's not how, that I
Right.
can't, I got to work. That's just how it goes. That's what they see.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
so now they're
That's
used
what
to
they
that. And
do.
and it's like, well, I don't know if I want to be a business owner. I want to just go to a job.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're used to. I get it. It's coming out of a comfort zone.
Of course.
Um, the little
Safety.
ones are kind of in it. And
Yeah.
so to them, it's not so scary. So they're like, yeah, I'll do business.
Interesting.
I want to do this. So those are the
Interesting.
fun things. And I
Mm.
feel like as with our kids, as parents, we are molding them for the future. And so I feel like if you can instill those things at a young age, you can do whatever you want, teach them
Yeah.
mindset stuff, even
Yeah.
as simple as when they make a mistake and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Something like that, I shut down and I'm usually like, no, we're not
Yeah.
going to talk bad about ourselves, even as a
Good.
joke,
Yes.
because
Right.
your brain will eventually listen to you. So if you talk
Yeah.
bad about yourself for so long, even jokingly,
So true.
your mind doesn't know the difference. And
Oh,
so it'll keep you there. It'll just keep you in that mind state. And so I preach that to them now. Think
mm,
highly of yourself, don't ever say you can't. I don't even like that
yeah.
word.
Yeah.
And so those types of things. And then we want to just get it established. So when they're older, they have something we can pass on. We also have a
Yeah.
grandson. He's 7 months. And so
Oh my
that's something
God.
we're always looking at like, yeah, when he's older, they
Oh.
have something to take over if they choose, or
Oh.
they could grow up in it and decide, I
Yeah.
just want to
Not
go
for
ahead and take it.
sure.
So
That's
we want
exciting.
to expand, yeah, you expand our home, get land. Like there's so many plans, but it all includes the family and like, how is this building our future?
Yeah.
It's fun to think, let's go buy a mansion because, hey, who doesn't want a mansion? But
Mm. Does that fit
at the
your
end of the
family?
day, right.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we could spend X amount of dollars on just getting one house of a mansion, or you can spend X amount of dollars getting land with a nice sized house and use the land for other projects down the road. What
Yeah.
other things can we do? So that's where I'm at
Love it.
now. My head's always working.
I love that.
How can we generate money in the future by just having land? Just
Love
things
it.
like is how I tell people to think. It's like,
Yes.
is it going to benefit you? And then
Yes.
if it is going to benefit you or you can find a benefit for it, why not? Why not
Yeah.
go for it?
I love that. Yeah, and I love that the more entrepreneurs I think in the world, you're right, really add the creativity to the world, right? Because you really kind of because you have to problem solve, right? But you really have to get creative. And that's what's
Yes.
so beautiful, right? Because you get to be creative and who knows what, right? All these entrepreneurs will come up with and new businesses and new ways to make money and I just think it's going to be a
Yeah,
beautiful place and it already is.
it is. It's getting so great, especially for business owners. Social media, the whole crazy boom of it, I think has helped a lot with
Yeah.
the entrepreneur age, if you will, of people
Yeah.
coming out, wanting to
Yeah.
be business people, but not just because you see businesses where they just sell, I make cups or something. Those are
Yeah.
the ones that you always see on social media.
Right.
And it's actually helped open the door to businesses like ours. We're blue collar. And so
Oh,
we're
yeah.
able to still get in there and be on social media,
Yeah.
show our work and interact with the community that we're with is all
Yeah.
through social media. And
Amazing.
so some business owners can't afford to pay hundreds of dollars to go be involved in like a community event. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Have to
Right.
pay for those just to go
Yeah.
sit at a table.
Of course.
Um, some can't really afford to do that. And so I feel social media just helps you to be able to do so much of that while saving so much money on
Yeah.
having to try to pay for marketing when it's all here and available. And
Absolutely.
AI is insane. AI will help you in so many ways. It's
Yes.
crazy.
Totally. Totally. Well, what community are you in or how can people stay in touch or support you?
Absolutely. We are based out of Frederick, Colorado. So if you're
Awesome.
in Colorado, we actually have some government jobs that we're looking at that are near
Ooh.
out of state. So if it's big
Okay.
enough,
Interesting.
we will look and take
Yeah.
into consideration the job and
Cool.
how we can get that done for you. But
Yeah.
we're in Colorado. If you're ever in Colorado and you want to get your floors done or get your garage flaked or your basement, like we're your people.
Ooh, absolutely.
Yeah, and we really focus on being reasonable. So priced.
Yeah.
We research, hey, let's research before we just list prices.
Yeah.
Um, I've kind of, maybe that's taken away from something, but I've learned a long time ago to do that because we've learned the hard way.
Of course, of
We've
course.
made prices and we're so excited to get a job. We're like, yeah, we'll do it. And then we find out later, like, wow, we really underbid ourselves. You know,
Sure.
um,
Yeah.
you kind of learn to know your worth a little bit more.
Oh,
Um,
such an
ex-
important lesson.
yeah, your worth and your time is so valuable. And so
Yeah.
that's something that I feel new or younger business owners need to know is really
Yeah.
take that into consideration because you will underbid because you're so excited to get that job. There's
Right.
a reason, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you look back and so we learned a lot going along the way. Never underestimate your worth and really research what you're getting into. Pricing, how supplies work, meet with supply people, where you're going to be getting your stuff from, and get all that lined up so you can be more competitive, but then you're not selling yourself short.
Love
At
that.
the end of the job, you don't want to look back and be like, wow, I did all that and I only came
Oh,
off with like $100. Like,
yeah. No, no, not worth it.
yeah, not at all.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Wonderful. Well, I'm so excited to be in your world. I'm going to go check out your pretty floors on social media. I'm sure there's some fun pictures to watch. And I'll
absolutely.
Awesome. And I'll just be excited to hopefully if there's anyone in Colorado to come near you or maybe out of state, some bigger jobs. That would be exciting.
We would definitely welcome it. Feel free to
Yeah,
give us a call. Check out the website as well,
perfect. I'll link that below.
crownresinceo.com. And
Perfect.
the pictures are on there. So yeah, we look
Awesome.
forward.
Perfect. Yay. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today. It was so fun talking with you.